Hey kids, Mr. Glenn here, hope you're well. So in our next installment, we are going to be looking at creating the mouth. The mouth in this one is relatively complicated because what we would assume is to paint a mouth with the same colorization as the lips here. But if you look at the pictures of Julian Opie's artwork, you'll see that actually the mouths are always just a single line, and with the shadowing here. So you probably see on mine, looking at me here, you just do where the lips are closed together, but you'd also have with my mouth a small shadow underneath the bottom lip. So we've got that here. So if I turn off my portrait layer, you can see that I've had to kind of exaggerate her mouth a little bit because of the darkness between the top lip and her bottom lip. So how do we do this? We just do this with a simple pen. This is very quick. So I'm going to go and delete these. And we're going to just get the pen tool in the mouth layer. Remember to create a new layer there. So if we just take my camera off for a second, we can see that in here we've got a new layer, create a new layer. And so I'm going to go and get the pen tool here, and I'm going to zoom quite the way in using you can see my hand here. I'm going to push my keyboard forward so you can see a little bit better. So I'm zoomed in, and what I'm going to do is just get a line. I'm going to exaggerate this here on the corners. You can see I've just made quite a high zigzag on this. And I'm going to ignore I'm going to quickly undo that, Control Z. And what I'm going to do is just get to the end here. I'm going to ignore this bit because it's a little bit, it looks odd compared to the other side of a mouse. So I'm just going to leave that. It's not quite symmetrical. And double click that. And then I'm going to bring that up to about 3.5 millimeters. And then what I'm going to do is just go in and use the edit node and start to pull those using shift and start pulling the pens apart. I'm also going to put a rounded end on those as well. Don't worry about the lines missing off because they will pop back again. I think that was in the last video before. They will sit. I'm going to hold down shift and just use my mouse wheel. Using shift and my mouse wheel will allow me to go side to side. You can see the exaggeration already. And then I'm going to pull that down like that, and you can see it all comes back again, just because it's been chopped off by the selection. I think it's called a marquee. I think it's a selection marquee, but you can see how exaggerated that is. And now what I'm going to do is just put just a slight bend here, just to follow that mouth. I'm going to put that there like that, making it as even as I can. I'm going to undo that last pen and double click there. That's not very even, so I'm going to do that again. And make sure that because this is the center of her face. If ever you're doing portraits, one of the main lines that you follow. So then I'm going to put a rounded end on that, and again go up to about 3.5, just to match. There we go. That'll be fine. I'm going to go into my edit, hold down shift, and don't worry about those bends and the bottom piece missing off. It'll all come back. Hold down control. Now it does look a bit odd when you zoom out a bit, but that's too sharp. This is what we want to do. When we come to do the hair as well, you'll notice that we don't want any jagged edges. We can put jagged edges up here, but we don't want, I double click in there, we don't want angles really. Maybe we can bend that out a little bit. Still got a crease in it, hasn't it? I'm going to delete this actually and just have those two pins like that and meeting them in the middle where that crease of her bottom lip is. If we zoom out a little bit now, control and zoom out. That's more symmetrical. There we go. Down on her face, but you can see that actually this side of her mouth is lower. So we'll leave that as it is. Doesn't quite look quite right. I think it's just her mouth. Anyway, like watching paint dry. So here we go. We'll leave that and I'll take off the portrait now and you'll see that the exaggeration of her mouth, when we go to put her nose in, which is the next video, you'll see that what is missing is actually inferred by our minds. And so she will come through this picture once we put her nose in. And then what we're going to do is at the same time, we're going to go and put the outline. So we're going to go and fill this with a lower mid-tone of her skin color here, which is probably around here. And we're going to go and fill it in with a flat color. So that's what we're going to do next. Right, time for you to have a go on either your portrait or the one that I'm working on. If you've got your own photograph, that's great. If you've got one off the page, you can use that too. Or if you don't want to use that and you're following along exactly with what I'm doing, then good luck, as always.